here we go. First time ever making tortillas. Growing up, my grandpa used to make the hell out of some tortillas. There'd be weekends when he lived with us, when I was a kid, that he would get up. I mean, he was always an early bird. He would get up 4 o'clock in the morning, I guess. And by the time we woke up, he would have a stack of tortillas this big. It was the greatest thing ever. So, first time making them, I bought the white wing. I believe that's what he used to use. All it takes is the flour and some warm water. This calls for 2 cups per 8 tortillas, but we plan on eating, if they come out right, we plan on eating bacon and chorizo tacos tomorrow for breakfast. And then I have a good recipe that you guys are gonna want to watch on some carne guisada. The recipe called for a 1/2 cup of warm water per 2 cups of flour. I put 4 cups in here, so a full cup of warm water, and it says to mix it all together. Once it's clumped up, then I'll take it out. I'll knead it, you know, for 5 minutes it says, and then put it back in the bowl and cover it with some wet paper towels for about 15 minutes. That's when we'll know if it came out right or not, but we're gonna see. I love me some homemade flour tortillas. So far it's clumping up the way it's supposed to, looks like. I don't know if you can see that over here, but I might be onto something here. The other thing too, that I don't have the rolling pin. We have the tortilla flattener thing. I'll bring it out in a little bit. It's one of those where it's got the 2 flaps, and well, you'll see in a minute. You gotta put some wax paper or parchment paper in between them so that the tortilla don't get stuck. Oop, losing some. The hell of an arm workout, that's for sure. That's a hell of a clump of dough right there. I was pretty nervous about this one, but looks like it's gonna be all right. Has that been 5 minutes yet? Calls for 5 minutes. You got me huffing and puffing over here. Feels this easy, now I understand why my grandpa was able to make so many tortillas. I thought it was a process. Again, and I'm making these for tomorrow. This isn't even for tonight. We're having burgers tonight, and then for dinner I plan on making some carne guisada. Gonna probably be like nothing you're used to, because most recipes that I've seen, especially Texas carne guisada, there's something with bell peppers and onions, and me and my wife just want the meat and the gravy part of it. And the gravy is more of a homemade gravy that I make, just with all-purpose flour. I brown it into the meat mixture, and then it's gonna simmer until tender, and then carne guisada tacos for tomorrow. Stay tuned to that one, it's gonna be a good one. All right, I think that's enough. I'm gonna wash my hands, wet some paper towels, and lay it over. Now again, the recipe says for 15 minutes, the directions I mean. We'll come back, we'll get them flattened out. We'll get the comal started, heat it up, see how good or bad I. Just like that. We'll be back in a minute. All right, I got my little tortilla flattener thing going on here. Don't come after me in the comments, or actually do come after me in the comments. Instructions say to pull out, I don't know, hopefully that's about big enough, about the size of a meatball. I'm gonna put it right in the middle. I have parchment paper down. Pray for me. Put that over and squeeze down. And then that should be. Let's get a bigger ball here. All right, let's try that. We'll put the parchment paper down. Let's flatten it out. Well, I guess we'll flip that over. Flatten it out again. Maybe this isn't gonna work. I'll keep flipping. It's gonna be some, I don't think I did this right. That's or maybe this tortilla flattener isn't big enough for what I needed it to be. But I don't know, I'm gonna throw this on the comal and see what it does, I guess. We'll have mini street tacos tomorrow. Let's see. Let that go for a little bit and I'll grab another hunk of, I feel like this thing is gonna break and bust my knuckles. Well, that one came out a little better, but it shrinks. So yeah, I think the tortilla maker itself is not big enough. Came out a little better, but I think I'm gonna be going to H-E-B and buying pre-made tortillas. And we'll try this again later with a rolling pin. they're too thick. They're not gonna cook all the way through. And we don't have a rolling pin. Oh yeah, we do. All right, I guess we do have a rolling pin. Let's see if I can get it done that way, but these for sure are not gonna work. I'm just not even gonna continue with these. All right, let's try it this way. This one may have worked. I believe that one's gonna work. Look like the shape of, not round. There we go, y'all. After I made a couple look like Florida, Mexico, Texas. Almost round, almost to perfection. Okay, for the ingredients. I have some all-purpose flour here, a beef chuck shoulder roast that I got from HEB yesterday. It was $10.65. You can see that there. Some ground cumin, cominos, some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. That is it. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these cubed up, probably 1-inch cubes, get the fat trimmed off of it, and then we'll start the next step. I'm gonna utilize the same container to put the cubes in once I'm done. That way I'm not dirtying any more dishes. I'm not gonna trim it too much. I'm just gonna take off just whatever chunks of fat are hanging off of it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If there's a piece just like that that's not a 1-inch, I'm just gonna run with it. Just like this is basically what I'm shooting for. I know there's a bunch of recipes out there. Some call for diced onion. I've seen some even add bell pepper. We like more the gravy than anything else as far as the carne guisada goes. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for, is that good gravy. And you could already buy this cubed up. I think it's a little more expensive that way. And at that point, you're paying for convenience. Like I said, I think I paid just over $10 for this chuck roast, almost 2 pounds. So it took me, I don't know, 3 minutes. So with the flour, again, I've seen videos of how to make carne guisada. Nobody that I saw actually did this, but the all-purpose flour, I'm gonna put it in the pan and I'm gonna get it browned up before I even start the meat. So I'll brown that up, I'll set it aside, start on the meat, and then with the au juice, I'll slowly sprinkle the brown flour into there, and just with the juice that the meat makes and adding a little bit of water here and there, I'll get the gravy to the consistency that I want it to be. No real measurements going on here. I'm just gonna cover the bottom of this pan and I'm gonna stir. And in the meanwhile, while all this is heating up, I'll get the dishes that I just dirtied, washed up. That way those are done. You'll see little by little as I start to stir that's gonna brown up. And that's what's gonna give the gravy the brown color that you see in carne guisada. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see the flour is already starting to change color. Now, this is something you don't want to do at a high temperature. You want to get it kind of like a low medium and just constantly stir it. And then at this point, it's just brown to your liking. Just constantly stir it though. Don't let it sit for too long. The browning process takes patience, guys. I'm telling you, don't turn the fire up. Don't try to rush this process. This, I think, is a game changer in the JBC style of carne guisada. Slow and steady, stir a lot. You should be able to start seeing the flour isn't white anymore. It's already turning almost like a peach color. And we're gonna keep going until it's completely brown or close to brown as possible without getting it burnt. Shh. And don't do that. So as this is browning, I'm gonna go ahead and add the meat to a bigger pot. Get the seasonings in there. Start getting this browned up a little bit. Gonna add some salt. Again, the seasoning here is everything to your liking. Pepper, a little bit of cumin. You want to be careful with the cumin because it can get really overpowering really quick. So just a couple of dashes should be more than enough. And then garlic powder. I'm gonna get this browned up a little bit. And then we're gonna fill it. We're gonna cover all the meat with water. And then we're gonna let that boil until tender. Don't take your eye off the flour. Keep stirring. I'm telling you, it's a process. It takes a while. Now with the meat, the only thing I'm trying to do is get it just started. I don't want to get it cooked all the way through because we want to boil this meat for the most part until tender. That's good enough for me. Let's get some water in there. Just like that, just enough to cover the meat. We'll bring that up to a boil. The flour's almost done. All right, so with the flour, you can see that it's already browned up enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kill the fire and then I'm gonna slowly add cold water to it. The important thing here is cold water. The mother-in-law says cold water. If you add warm water, it's gonna clump up and we don't want it to clump up. We want this to be a nice consistency of what gravy is. So we definitely don't want it to clump up. Just adding it little by little. And we're gonna leave it just a little bit on the thick side because we're gonna end up adding it to the water that the meat is boiling in. I don't plan on draining any of that water. I'm just gonna add this gravy to that and then we're gonna let it go until it thickens up. So this is the consistency that we want. Good consistency right there. Yeah, really good. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so this has been boiling for, I don't know, 30 minutes probably. Now we're just gonna dump this in directly into the boiling water and the meat, and we're gonna get all that stirred in and then let it boil, and then I'm gonna drop it down to a simmer and just let it thicken up. You see the little bit of clumps that were in there went away completely, or for the most part. We're just gonna get this up to a boil, a rolling boil, and then I'm gonna drop it down to a simmer, and then we'll leave it there until this gravy thickens up to how we like it. See, as this boils, the water's gonna evaporate, and as the water evaporates, it's gonna leave behind just the gravy. We'll turn it off once it's a gravy consistency. I'm gonna bring it down to medium for a little while and let it go at that. You can see I've had this on medium for probably 10 or 15 minutes, and you can see the water is already turning into where we're already getting a good consistency going here. I think another 10-15 minutes, it's gonna be perfect. So we're right about the consistency that we want. I'm gonna turn this off, get us served up, and it's time to eat. So there you have it, folks. Carne guisada, homemade gravy. My wife has the beans that she promised to cook for me today. She's gonna get those served up, and it's time to eat. If you like what you saw here, please consider subscribing, liking the video, and hitting that bell so you get notified every time I load a new video. Let's eat.
Just so you know, I never made any promises.